just taking a minute to come into a landing in our own bodies, to land in this moment, in our bodies, in whatever way just feels taking good. A minute. There we go. You can do this laying down. You can do it seated. I'm going to start seated on my little ball. Feeling as you are coming into a landing, really feeling the awareness, or inviting the awareness to notice the downness of gravity, feeling how we can easily sense where the ground underneath us is in our body when we're in air. I know sometimes if we were in water in the ocean, sometimes divers don't know which way is up. They have to watch the bubbles because their whole body is encased in water, and we're our bodies of water. But in the air, the water in our body connects down to the earth. We can feel it. So feeling into that, feeling into the weightedness of being a person in a body, not in a judgmental way of I'm too fat or I'm too thin, but in a, oh, here I am. I have some presence because of this weight. We could say gravitas, right? Coming into our sense of being with some gravitas, connecting to gravity, feeling into that. And noticing for you, when you feel into gravity, what parts of your body do you feel into? What shows up for you? Could be different if you're laying down. It could just be different every time. What does it feel like to connect to the earth? To drop down. Sometimes I like to think of feeling into our bones and feeling the weightedness and the density of our bones and letting that connect to the earth. Bones being kind of the densest parts of our body, our bones, our teeth, our fingernails. And as we're feeling into the bones, also note that the bones are actually fluid. They're dense fiber, but there's fluid supporting them. There's fluid inside of them. There's fluid outside of them. So this dense fibrous material packed with fluid and encased in fluid. And as I'm talking about these concepts of body, if it's possible to take out the lens of judgment, or this is good, this is bad, this is right, this is wrong, just let that stuff fall away, so that judgment, it can be there, but we're just not giving it a whole lot of attention. So we're just feeling into what it is to be in our body, what we're noticing, without trying to fix it or make it more perfect or change things, just coming in to land in being in your body. With equanimity and curiosity, inviting in curiosity and a sense of humor. I'm sitting on this ball. So as I ask the question of what do I notice like the movement of the ball underneath me and this motion capacity from having this squishy physio ball under my body. And connecting down. So also when I come into my own body, my attention tends to come backwards and then go down. So it's like I'm coming in and descending. So inviting yourself to come in and descend. I'm just going to do, let me see if I can do this. Oh, maybe I can't. Oh, well, I'll just leave it as it is. I'm playing with my controls on my computer just to try it. It's okay. It's okay. Whatever's going on, it's okay. Let it go. And let's come into some micro movement, noticing the movement of our breath, inviting in this idea of the fluidity of the body. And for me, like when I come into micro movement, it's very easy to get into the spinal movement. And especially easy because I'm on this ball. And I can think of, from my experience in this moment, I can pour myself around, like inner body pouring around in these different ways. And it's a lot easier with the ball underneath me. I have to say, if you don't have a physio ball, it might be worth investing in one. And this one is a small one, and it's also not very filled up, so it's squishy, which gives me information, right? As I move around, it shifts and it moves me. So also, if you're somebody that has a hard time allowing movement to happen, sometimes using something like a physio ball or even a pillow, something that's going to give you some feedback and might offer up more movement, is just an option. If you don't have one, no worries. Inviting movement to dance in the fluidity of your inner body. So there's this mixture of fibrousness, the tissue, the fascia, the bones, the tendons, ligaments, all the connective tissues that are holding you together and organizing you. And then all the fluids in your body. There's the blood, there's the lymphatic fluid, the glycoaminoglycans, the extracellular matrix. And imagine that all of those things are in a fluid dance suspended inside of your skin, the container of your skin holding the shape of your ocean body, and you're on the earth and we're in the air, so we can feel where down is very easily because we are not underwater, we're in the air. But inside of our body, we are suspended in water. We are bodies of water. So once we're inside, there's a lot of fluidity in there. There are open spaces with air, right? In our nose, there's cavities in our lungs as things are shifting and moving through us. Inside of our ears. So thinking about those places as well, right? The space inside my nose where I have no material, no little hairs, that space is just space. The space inside my mouth also, right? It's just space. So bringing in this idea of spaciousness. And we could imagine on a cellular level, there's also a lot of space. Spacious inner body. Inviting in this dance, micro movement dance with the fibrousness of your body and the fluidity of your body. If you have the chance, there's a great movie made by Dr. Jean-Claude Gembertau. He's a French doctor who studies fascia, and he's got a movie called Strolling Under the Skin. And you can see like the fibrousness and the fluidity, and it's almost like sometimes looking like at cobwebs with water in them, the way that we look at what the structures inside of our body are. So if you ever have a chance to look at that, if you are inspired, it's on YouTube. You can find it, Strolling Under the Skin, Jean-Claude Gembertau. And kind of gets narrated almost like, what's the guy's name who did all the animal stuff? It's almost like watching Wild Kingdom, but it's inside of our bodies. So whenever anybody narrates a story about what's happening inside of your body, they're coming from a perspective, right? Even the way that I'm talking about it, it's coming from my perspective, this organic structure, this interbeing with ourself, with our body, with our cells that we're going to experience for our whole life. So this is just one way of talking about being in a body, of receiving being in a body. So in the Strolling Under the Skin, they have interesting ways of speaking about being in a body. Another person worth checking out is Emily Conrad, talking about the fact that we are bodies of water. I have a little cat meowing, or a very big cat meowing over there by the window. Probably you can't hear him, but if it's getting picked up. He's part Oriental cat and very chatty. Part Siamese. And he likes to talk. So as we're here, these bodies of water suspended in the air, suspended within ourselves, but on the planet, knowing where down is very easily through movement. Imagine what it would be like if you were in a zero gravity realm. Just imagining what that would be like if you could just float effortlessly. And invite that in to your imaginal experience, this effortless floating. Not like nothing, it just floats up. Or if you could imagine that you actually were just a helium body rising easily. So it doesn't take any muscular effort or any no efforting at all, just to feel the idea of rising and having spaciousness and lightness into your body. Just imagining it, playing with that idea. And what it would feel like in your tissue, right? If we push hard on something in zero gravity, it's not like it doesn't build our muscle or our tissue in zero gravity or in that low gravity. People have to work with a lot of resistance to be able to not lose their bone density or their fascia density when they're out in space. And even their blood becomes much thinner. When astronauts return to the Earth, first their blood comes back to a normal viscosity, and then the fascia starts to come back, and then the bones never come back to where they would have been if they hadn't left the planet. So we are creatures of this Earth, but we're just imagining that we're in this zero gravity floaty space. Imagining that it's so light and easy to be in your body, effortless. We have connected to the Earth, so now you can imagine that nothing's pulling you down. And movement is easy. No hard effort, no work whatsoever. You can put some sound on. This is Celestial Dolphin, if I can find it, for some outer space watery music. There it is. So letting these sounds inform your exploration. And you could be standing, seated, all fours on your belly, any way that feels good and interesting to you. Yeah, I think, the two things we could sort of play back and forth with are the idea of the zero gravity environment where we're just floating, moving so easily. And then the other one is what if we're underwater and have that little bit of pressure all around our whole body? Not if it's scary, but if it's interesting. Imagining that too, like this free floating, right? If we're in the water, there's a suspension too. And we can just use our imaginations to take us there. And if you don't have a very good imagination, imagine that you do. What if you could just feel what it felt like to be in weightlessness, in outer space, floating around? Or underwater, floating around. Of course, imagine you can breathe easily, or you have an oxygen tank that is effortless to breathe through. So taking away sort of our imaginal experience of being humans on the planet and creating this imaginal experience of being a human in outer space, or a human in the deep sea, or an octopus in the deep sea, or an octopus in outer space. So that your experience of being in a body can shift from whatever your day-to-day experience is. Giving yourself full freedom to play with any of the ideas or go somewhere totally different. Listen into your own system. Coming into open movement, open awareness. Maybe some other little alien sea creature might come into your realm. Maybe it's another creature that lives in your own house, or in your spacecraft, or in your underwater environment. Inviting your body to also soothe and settle within the environment that you're creating in your imagination. Soothing and settling, support from the environment, the imaginary environment, or the real environment. If, like, for example, I have this cat that keeps coming in to be involved in the moment, and I could fight against it, but I can also just participate with it and just allow it to happen. Let the cat be part of my experience. And it might be a little person or an older person or somebody that keeps coming in. So if it's fun and playful, let it be fun and playful. may have some very important information for you. Let me contact improv with the cat. In our exploration, inviting the highest good for ourselves and ourselves to come unwanted, so that what we're doing in our exploration is just creating more inner space, more fluidity, more flow, inviting our bodies to crack off any old holding patterns that aren't serving us, any ways of being that we may have learned in our environment, from our family or our social structure, anything that we don't need anymore, just letting it go. And it doesn't have to be a big, huge event. It just can crack off and be reabsorbed in the air, in the earth, in the water. Spontaneous spaciousness invited in. Can we invite spontaneity? If you feel like you really know what you're doing, try going somewhere totally different, right? So in this kind of practice, we want to invite in novel movement so that we can let go of some of the old patterning. Totally different music. Let's just keep it. So that was this is something totally different. Just fine, we'll just stick with it. That was Celestial Dolphin. This is a mashup. I think it might be Satie and Wagner by Buckintosh. Mashups are totally new ways of conceiving of the sounds in the old songs. And that's kind of what we want to do here. We're not trying to hear the old pattern and just replay it in a new way. We're trying to find an entirely different pattern. It might have some echoes of the past, but it isn't just replaying the old past. It's not a remix of the same song, it's an entirely new song. I feel like this music has there's a sense of electricity in it, there's a sense of fire, there's a sense of the fire element. Timelessness in my experience with this music. shoulder really can feel the suspension. Or the sense of suspension and lightness. Maybe it's different for you. However you're interpreting it is fine. Micro movement or the macro movement to hydrate, renegotiate inner space. Renegotiate cats in my living room. Imagining also in this movement that all the joints are getting hydrated. There's a little person with a oil can inside just greasing up your joints. Plumping up all the cartilaginous things like your meniscus, your cartilage between your discs, between your vertebrae, cartilaginous discs. Just fluffing everything up, giving the inner body more spaciousness, more fluidity, less grippy tension. Your experience might happen at a totally different tempo than mine. Sometimes just being in stillness is fine. It's enough. But if you spend a lot of time in stillness, maybe invite in more movement. Let the music sing to you. Let the music speak to your body. Allowing the elements to come in whatever way feels interesting, curious, curiouser and curiouser. Taking away whatever you think is right and wrong in movement. Do it wrong. Do it ugly. Do it weird. This movement is more for the experience of moving than for the performance of movement. Let me get to my playlist fast and see what's going to happen next. Oh, it's more Satie and Wagner mashup. We'll keep it going. Allow the music to create a landscape or a sensory scape for your body to explore. Maybe it's maybe in your visual imagination, maybe your kinesthetic imagination. Imagine that the part of you that is wild and creative is just set free for right now to do whatever feels good and delicious and curious. It doesn't have to be so wild that you're going to hurt yourself, but wild, gentle and wild. with grace and gravitas, with some pushy pulliness as well. You don't need to shove anything out. You can include it all. The grace, I don't mean like it's a graceful dance. I mean like the grace of presence of being with yourself. Allowing yourself to get lost in the play of movement. You could imagine that your inner body is like the Milky Way, things moving around each other. Spacious stars, galaxies. I guess the Milky Way is a galaxy. The movement within the Milky Way, not unlike the movement within your system. This is now Ambient Fields. This song is called Moment. is 16. Hey, Richard. Oh, and there's even people phoning me right now. Oh, so I am going to turn off the music and let us come in for a landing. We came in for a landing in the beginning and we'll come in for a landing at the end. Just letting yourself land in your body right now, which you already landed in, and letting yourself process the processing. So you're letting go of any kind of crunchy, crusty stuff that you're ready to let go of, and have a couple moments of being in the silence of your own experience or the stillness of your own experience. Just time to down regulate and let go. Processing the processing. And hey, Richard, I am going to finish this live stream and go back to the Zoom room with my people that are in there. So anybody who showed up, thank you so much.